Model guns in Japan profiled by Lucifer 7922. This video introduces a Japanese toy gun. The toy guns I introduce are called model guns in Japan. It is called a cap gun by the world standard, but I call it a model gun. This model gun was manufactured and sold by the Japanese toy gun manufacturer Marushin Industry Co., Limited. This is an assembly kit, but production and sales have already ended. I made a mail order purchase in December 2018. The current rate is about $130. It has disappeared from the manufacturer's website, but it can be purchased in 2020. This video introduces the assembly process and test shooting, but I cannot translate the assembly process into English correctly. So just look at the image and imagine. Moreover, the notation of parts is simply a translation of the part name described in the instruction manual. First, copy the instruction manual. And make sure you have all the parts. Divide the parts into several plastic bags. This is done to spray oil on the parts. Divide into bags to prevent contamination by oil spray, and spray inside the bags. Do it outdoors as much as possible. This model gun has PPK, PPKS and PP. PPK comes with a printed matter that is different from the instruction manual. Assembly starts with this printed material. Also note that 3 spring pins, which are not described in the instruction manual, are also printed on this printed material. 1. Incorporation of spring housing. The process of inserting the spring housing into the frame and fixing it with the barrel pin and the grip screw guide. The barrel pin does not fit in the designated hole. Therefore, rotate the drill bit with your finger and pass it through the hole. Since the outer diameter of the barrel pin is 3 mm, use the same size for the drill bit. Be sure to use the same size. 2. Assembly of hammer. Step of inserting hammer spring into hammer and connecting hammer lever with hammer using hammer strut pin. Hammer strut pin does not fit into the designated hole. Therefore, rotate the drill bit with your finger and pass it through the hole. Since the outer diameter of the hammer strut pin is 2 mm, use the same size for the drill bit. Be sure to use the same size. 3. Incorporation of hammer. The process of linking the assembled hammer and hammer strut in the frame and fixing them while pressing them with the hammer spring. A hammer pin is used for fixing, and the uncocking lever is also fixed coaxially. The hammer and the hammer strut are only pressed against each other. The hammer spring has a direction, and the smaller outer diameter is inserted first. This has important implications. If inserted correctly, the spring will stop with the stopper as shown in the image on the right. However, if you insert it in the wrong direction, as shown in the left image, you will get over the stopper. Understand everything before incorporating. First, raise the hammer strut upright with tweezers. Then insert the hammer in place as shown in the right figure. Finally, fix with a hammer pin, but do it slowly and without impatience. 4. Incorporation of cocking piece washer. This is the process of driving the cocking piece washer into the frame. Use the included assembly jig. After driving, attach the cocking piece spring to the frame. The cocking piece spring has an asymmetrical shape. Don't make a mistake on the front side and the back side. This work is easy if you use an assembly jig. Use tweezers to put the assembly jig in place. Press the cocking piece washer lightly with your finger and tap it lightly with a hammer. I would like to use a resin round bar when hitting with a hammer, but I used an art knife cap. The cocking piece spring is arranged in this way. 5. Incorporation of cocking piece. It is the process of hooking the cocking piece on the cocking piece spring and fixing it with the cocking piece screw. Align the red and white arrows and hook the cocking piece spring. Align the positions of the cocking pieces and fix them with the cocking piece screws from the left and right. 6. Incorporation of trigger bar. It is a process of hooking the trigger bar to the cocking piece and temporarily placing it. There is no problem. 7. Trigger assembly. This is the process of fitting the trigger spring to the trigger. Anyone who sees the finished product can do it. 8. Incorporation of trigger. It is a process of connecting the trigger and the trigger bar and fixing them to the frame with the trigger pin. There is no problem as instructed in the instruction manual, but I think it will be easier to grasp the image once combined externally. I tried to insert the trigger pin into the specified hole before assembling, but it still does not come in. So I passed a 3mm drill bit while rotating it with my fingers. The key point of work is to connect the trigger and the trigger bar while hooking the part surrounded by the red circle of the trigger spring on the blue part of the trigger bar in a narrow space. Even if it doesn't work from the beginning, it will always succeed if you repeat it several times. For that, it is necessary that the trigger pin can be inserted smoothly. Now let's see the movement of the hammer and trigger. 9. Barrel assembly. And 10. Incorporation of magazine catch. What I mean by barrel assembly is press fit using steel jig. I used a hex wrench bit to press fit. The hole of the barrel pin cannot be inserted smoothly, so it is necessary to insert the drill bit. However, I do not install the barrel at this point. I thought it would be a hindrance to later work. Incorporation of magazine catch is a temporary fixing process for magazine catch. The magazine catch alone will fall off, so temporarily fix it with a magazine. The magazine catch is fixed by the trigger guard plunger that comes out later. 11. Incorporation of trigger guard. This is the process of inserting the trigger guard plunger and trigger guard spring into the frame and connecting with the trigger guard. Use the trigger guard pin for fixing. At this time, insert a buffer rubber on the upper part of the trigger guard. The trigger guard plunger also has the function of fixing the magazine catch. From my personal impression, it was the most difficult process in PPK assembly. The cause is the shape of the trigger guard pin. As shown in the figure, both ends have an outer diameter of 3 mm, but the central part has an outer diameter of 2.4 mm, which is one step lower. This makes it difficult to insert and remove the trigger guard pin. First, pass the drill bit through the pinhole and check that the trigger guard pin can be inserted smoothly. I tried incorporating it several times, but it didn't work. Although there are cautionary notes on the subsequent pages, it is impossible to overdo it because pinholes are often damaged. Therefore, I used a titanium shaft with an outer diameter of 2.9 mm as an insertion guide. As a result, it was assembled safely. 12. Incorporation of trigger guard. Continuation of the previous section. Just check the movement of the magazine catch and the trigger guard. 13. Assembling the grip. This process is written on a separate printed material that is different from the instruction manual. It is a process of press fitting the spring pins in 3 places of the grip and attaching the left and right to the frame. 14. Incorporation of ejector. This is the process of fitting the ejector spring to the ejector and inserting it into the frame. 15. Slide assembly. This is the process of inserting the safety lever into the frame and fixing the extractor via the safety lever plunger, the extractor spring and the extractor plunger. Use the extractor screw for fixing. First, insert the safety lever into the frame. Next, push it into the position of the red circle in the order of 48, 47, 46, 45. Then, it looks like it is surrounded by a white circle. Hold down the extractor and secure with 50 screws from the back of the frame. 16. Incorporation of recoil spring. Here is the process of lowering the trigger guard and fitting the recoil spring into the barrel. It's easy, but there is one caveat. That is that the recoil spring has a tapered shape. The actual measurement value is described, but the outer diameter 14.0 mm sight is installed first. 17. Incorporation of slide. This is the process of attaching the slide to the frame. Follow the instructions in the instruction manual. Remember to raise the hammer first and push in the trigger guard at the end. 18. Magazine assembly. The magazine is already assembled, so refer to the instruction manual when disassembling it. This is completed. Immediately, I confirmed the movement manually. It's a very good move, so I will shoot it. It would have been perfect if the slide stop worked. I will continue. The problem continued, but it is within expectations. I thought that the factor was the movement of the magazine, and disassembled the magazine and corrected it. I will try it again. After all, slide stop did not work. But this is the end of the challenge. The magazine is incomplete, but not ready to improve. I will prepare again and try again. Thank you for watching until the end. See you soon. Goodbye.